Welcome back to the InherAlchemist TV. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a tarot reading on Leticia and Marsau Scott from Love and Love in Huntsville, Love in Alabama. Anyways, I know it's a TV show because I saw it in my timeline, and I thought I'd go ahead and pull some cards. If there's any couples, YouTubers, famous people that you guys want me to look into, just drop it down in my comment section. Remember that these are for entertainment purposes only. I'm not intending to make this the absolute truth or slander, so everything is allegedly and according to the tarot cards. So before we get started, I need you to like this video. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and that you have your notification bells on. So, listen. Marcel Scott, I'm going to start with him because he popped out and his nature was just on full display. He came across as the King of Cups in reverse. Now, the King of Cups normally is a nice guy to be with. He's very loving. He's very emotionally intelligent. He's very charming, and he's all about his family. He's very romantic. He has a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy, but he also has a little bit of a psychic ability. And when he's in reverse, he uses those abilities to manipulate others, right? And to be emotionally abusive. Now, I show that in the past, that Marcel was able to connect with Leticia a little bit better because he was more empathetic towards her. I saw that he had a little bit of foresight when it came to her as far as her personality and character, and he knew from the onset that she would be a person that would be susceptible to being emotionally manipulated and that she wasn't going anywhere. And I think he chose her on that basis alone. It's funny because I was listening to this psychology short, and it was saying, a man who's in this position is gonna settle down with the weaker woman. So it's possible that he had a choice between two women even as they were dating, and one of them were giving him a little bit too much trouble, a little bit too much pushback, but he saw with his foresight that Leticia would be the one that would be susceptible to his charms, if you will. But these are not charms. This is just straight up emotional abuse. It's seduction. It's usury, if you will. And I'm showing right now that he's not really in touch with his emotions as far as Leticia is concerned. I would almost even say out of love with her, but I don't want to say that because it sounds alarming, because the bottom line is in relationships, you're not going to be in love all the time. You're going to have times where you're feeling over the moon about your person and times where you rather not see their face. So that's not uncommon. And I show that now he's in a phase where he's kind of like out of love. I feel like he's trying to separate himself from the past and honestly his kids too. I show that there's some type of disconnect with his family overall. So it's possible that he could be in some type of midlife crisis. We never know, but just his family in general is not resonating with him for some odd reason or whatever reason that is. Now, the Three of Cups is showing up in reverse. I show that alcohol may be one of the primary motivators for this change in attitude. Alcohol, socialization, and other women. I show that he's kind of developed like an emotional connection to his social life, and that's where he's finding a lot of his identity or a lot of his emotional support, if you will, like amongst friends, whether those friends be other women, and it looks like they are. It doesn't look like all of the women that he deals with are sexual per se, but he does have a lot of platonic friends and can kind of be carrying on with kind of like emotional affairs. Like he has people that he talks to on a regular basis, and he's finding support amongst those people. It's not just one. It's a little bit more than one. Now, I don't know if he's exercising discretion, but it looks like he might not be in the most discriminate position as far as who he's sharing with and as far as who he's allowing to be in his energetic space. That's a big pet peeve of mine. especially as a woman, because you know, like, you put work into your man, into your household, and then they essentially take your energy and then pour it into other places, or they invite other energies into your space. And so as a woman, you may be used to dealing with your man on this particular level, then all of a sudden he's come with all these other energies and talking points and attitudes, and you're like, nigga, where did you get that from? And you can just feel the scent of another woman and her programming on your man. And it is so infuriating. So I feel like that's one of the ways that men give themselves away when it comes to cheating, is that they wear these emotional affairs like DNA and the changes that they're making. And so, like I said, I'm not showing like a heavy sexual energy when it comes to dealing with these other people, but more so getting like that emotional affair type of situation. Leticia is very in love with Marcel. You know what I mean? She tries to cater to his every need, and she tries to be emotionally in tune with him to the degree that he has to defend himself against her. He doesn't want to be seen by her right now. He doesn't want to connect with her right now. He just wants to be fair with her. He wants to be amicable with her, but he does not feel like in that emotionally connected space. Why? Because he's emotionally connecting to other things. These could even be, I don't want to say like daydreams or fantasies, but I could even go as far as to say like he has like this thing like limerence. You know, when you have like when a man has an emotional problem, he'll develop like this emotional or fixation on like a third party or a different woman, and then depending on his amount of action, which Marcel does not come across as being a sexually active or aggressive type of man, but he is in his head. And it kind of gives me like intellectual narcissism. You know, like when you have an intellectual narcissism, not only do they try to outsmart you, but they develop like these fantasy relationships with other women who they feel are on their mental and intelligence level, and they start to mentally attach to that person. You know what I mean? So these fantasies don't need to go outside their head, because they're not attracted to things like people's bodies or people's money or they're attracted to their brain. And so it's kind of like possible that Marsaus became emotionally connected to another woman based on her brain, based on the way she thinks, based on the things that come out of her mouth, based on how smart she is. And he's kind of like fantasizing or developing some type of attachment based on that alone, not necessarily sex. Now, which makes this even more complicated and nefarious is that these men can get away with saying, I'm not cheating, because they literally feel like cheating is something physical, like they're not crossing the line, even though they've allowed themselves to be essentially taken away from their emotional connection with their woman because they are fixated on another person. And I show with him, he's fixated on potentially another person. This person is not even like a queen. This person is not even like a quote unquote boss. This is just someone who he feels like he has some type of level with and chose to attach to for whatever reason. Now, it looks like a lot of future faking is going on. So it could be someone around work, not even work, but it's around plans. So this person has maybe like a business plan, or this person has a plan for their life, or it's just something about the way that this person presents their vision that is really inspiring to Marsau, and that's what's allowing him to develop this bond with this other person, because he feels hopeful and refreshed looking towards the future with this person. Whereas with Leticia, it's always kind of focused on the past, and he feels more required to be the man that he used to be, quote unquote, or he feels more required to be the old him. And I'm honestly not showing that he wants to do that anymore. I show that he wants to be this new guy. He wants to be this kind of like, he wants to be a trailblazer. He wants to be a factor. He wants to be known. And I think this is what's driving him to want to separate from his image as a family man. It's not so much that he has disdain for his family, it's that he wants to be independent of his family. He wants to be a brand in and of himself. And right now he feels like his brand is attached to the man he was back in the day, which was that good, emotionally intelligent, possibly simpish type dude who got married, fell in love. He was a classic man at some point, but I feel like his ego is developed a little bit more strongly, and the way that it went is towards more of an individualism. Like I said, this is not really like a flagrant type of disrespect, but it's more so empowerment on his side. So I don't know if he's like a person who felt really dependent or felt really tied to something in his past. I don't know what it was, tied to his childhood maybe, but now he's feeling like a full man and he wants to express his individuality as a quote unquote man. Now with Leticia, like I said, I feel like she's emotionally clinging and hanging on, and she's trying to keep her wits about herself, but at the end of the day she just does not want to be alone. Leticia is not an independent woman. She's not a woman who feels like she's going to take over the world. She's not a woman that feels like she's going to be like a great businesswoman. If she does exhibit these qualities, it's just to appease her relationship, but that's not who she is. She's a joiner. You know what I mean? She likes to be a part of something. She likes to be emotionally in tuned and connected to something. She's a very sensitive woman and a very dependent woman. And even though she does have it within her, I don't know, she has it within her to be emotionally independent, because at the end of the day she is emotionally independent because she's not supported in the way that she needs to be. So that does make you independent, but what's keeping her from having that physical representation, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But she's a wise woman. You know what I mean? And she has a great intuition. There's nothing that anybody can tell her about her man, because the fact of the matter is that she already knows. Now she may cover that, or she may stand in support of him regardless, but she already knows. Just like she knows that she's in an unequal relationship with him, and she is praying for justice, but the justice that she's praying for is more so that she have her husband return to her in the way that she signed up for, and that's just not who he wants to be at this time. It really isn't. Now with this justice in reverse, I also sense that there could be some legal problems. There's a court situation, and the verdict is not going to go in their favor. They're not going to be vindicated if they brought some type of lawsuit against someone. I don't show that they're going to be on the winning end of this. I really don't. And I show that this is going to create even more strain in the relationship, where they're both going to become overwhelmed by this kind of battle that they're in. It looks like it's a financial situation where there's some contention in the financial situation, but I think that this has to do with, I don't know, maybe they're co-stars or co-workers, because this legal battle is nothing more than some type of rivalry that they have with another person. It does not have anything to do with ethics or morals. It doesn't have any. It's strictly for the competition. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking they are going to be the ones that are trying to bring a lawsuit against someone, and they're going to lose. But the reason why they're going to lose is because they are only doing this out of competition and rivalry. They're not bringing a lawsuit towards anybody because of like merits or anything that they believe in or something that's really affecting them. It's just strictly because of contention and hating, and honestly it's part of like an ongoing like fight that they're having. It's like they bicker and argue with some people, and then the situation, the beef is progressing to the courtroom. It's like something like that. and they're not gonna win. They're not gonna win that. I don't, and like I said, I don't think that they deserve to, because of the reason why they're bringing the lawsuit is bullshit. It's just bullshit, and this is whether that's them or whether that's going towards them. You know what I mean? Now I show that they are contemplating what their next move should be. They're looking at some options. I don't know if this is in regards to business. It looks like they're okay. So they're suffering financially with some business opportunity, it looks like, and it's something that they've been putting a lot of time and energy into. And whatever the venture is has been a topic of discussion in their relationship for a long time. And the conversation is whether or not they should abandon it. It's possible that they could be considering abandoning this lawsuit, which is another form of not having a victory. Like I said, there's an ongoing rivalry, and they're going for broke even trying to have the fight. Right now they're having financial problems, and I think it has to do with these lawsuits, either, like I said, coming against them, but I don't know, I'm getting a heavy sense that they're the ones pulling the cards on people. You know what I mean? Just because they're trying to flex their power, or I don't know, Leticia, she comes across as like being emotional, and it's possible that she could just have like an emotional attachment to a type of beef or something, and that she's willing to take it all the way to the court. Like I said, this has been a source of financial strain, emotional strain, and they are considering abandoning the cause, which is a very good idea because it ain't gonna work out. That's my tarot spread on Leticia and Marcel Scott. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.